Oh, yeah.
No,
Totally
I think
got
you'll be
that.
fine.
All right. I'll have Jim help me.
Now I think you're fine.
If you invite him, he'll bring the beer, he said.
This episode is made possible by our therapy partners, Dirty B, Myra, and Pickett. From fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada, this is Pod Therapy. Real people, real problems, and real therapists. You can submit your questions anonymously at podtherapy.net or email us at podtherapyguys@gmail.com. And now broadcasting from the churn, that's Whitney. I'm Nick. It's time for some Pod Therapy.
I'm Jim Jobin.
Aw,
Jimmy boy.
Jim's not here.
It's a Jimless episode.
Yay! Everybody's favorite type of episode.
Oh, yeah.
I know.
So, happy Halloween to everybody. Sorry we
Happy
missed that.
post-Halloween. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're
I
drinking
have a
Oktoberfest.
scenario for you
Oh, okay.
that I want to see how you guys would have responded in this scenario.
Ooh, this makes me nervous.
No, it's an easy scenario. Easy peasy. It involves milkshakes.
I like
okay.
this.
All right.
Yeah,
better
see?
already.
Does it bring me to the yard? Is that what?
It does indeed bring boys to the yard.
Okay.
So in Arizona a couple of weeks, I was outside of Phoenix a couple of weeks ago in Glendale.
Oh, yeah.
And went and saw a football game there. And after the football game, we went down to this little area. They had restaurants. They had like a little green area and everything. And
Arizona's green area?
we had and so outside they had a milkshake stand.
Nice.
And we were like, "Fuck yeah, let's go get some milkshakes." So we go over. A couple of us line up. There are 4 of us, and we all line up. We all order milkshakes. I'm the last one in line. I order just a plain chocolate milkshake.
Yum.
And he goes, "Great, that'll be," and I don't remember what the price was exactly, but it was like $9.
Okay. This is around the stadium?
No,
Oh.
this is not stadium. Like I was surprised that this was
Okay.
that expensive. If it had been a stadium
Yeah.
milkshake,
Yeah, that's like
$9.
yeah.
I'm stealing this thing.
That's a good 10 ounces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, it was a $9 milkshake. I gave the guy a $1 tip,
Yep.
so make it about $10. And then we go sit down at a table next to the milkshake stand. The first guy's milkshake, they give us little buzzers, you know. The first guy's milkshake is ready approximately 10 minutes later.
Oh, my gosh.
Wow.
Yeah.
What?
Yep. About 10 minutes went by,
Oh, I'd be losing it.
and first milkshake is ready. It comes out, and it is in a 12-ounce cup. It is just the saddest little milkshake. It looks like a milkshake that I would make at home in my blender.
Okay.
And I was like, well, that's lame.
Yeah.
And then another few minutes go by, and then a second milkshake comes out. Same deal. What would you do in this scenario? So 2 milkshakes have come out, 4 have been ordered, and you are the 4th milkshake orderer.
Wait, how many minutes passed from the first to the second?
Like 5.
Another 5?
Yeah.
I'd
Wow.
probably go up and just ask for my money back, unless you really wanted the milkshake.
Okay.
But I'd say, hey, I just want my money back. I don't want my
Yeah.
milkshake. Yeah.
Nick, what would you do?
I guess the $1 tip's gone, though. So
Okay. So there's no added information with the third milkshake.
No.
That just comes out a little bit later.
Yeah.
Same size.
Second
They
milkshake
didn't all
comes
of a
out,
sudden
and
get
that's
bigger.
when I am going to make my decision.
Okay.
I have a decision to make now as to what I'm going to do. Am I just going to keep waiting? Am I going to do what Whitney said? Go get a refund? Burn the place down?
yeah, that's an option.
Basically any option you can think of. What would you do in that
Dump the
scenario?
milkshake all over the.
Yeah. I was thinking, what I would. Okay. If I'm being honest,
Yeah.
I would
Nothing.
wait for it. And when it came, I would say thank you.
You would,
Yeah.
and you would
I would
grumble
eat it.
quietly to
Yes,
yourself.
Yes, and I wouldn't
Sounds
even.
accurate.
I wouldn't even write an angry tweet about it. I'd just be like, I don't like waiting for my milkshake, and that's probably all I would do.
Yeah.
What I would want to do is ask for my money back.
Yeah. Well, that's what I did.
Okay.
Second milkshake came out. I was like, fuck this. I'm going to get my money back.
Yeah.
And so I walked back up to the guy and I said, hey, I ordered a chocolate shake from you. Have you started making it yet? Because in my mind, I'm like, if he started making it,
That's
Yeah.
a fair question.
I have purchased this thing. He has already started making it. Now I'm in.
And milkshakes take like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
You
easy.
ordered it well done, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So I
That's
go,
on you.
So I say,
Extra melted, please.
so I say, have you started making my milkshake yet? And he said, no, I have not. I was just about to start making yours. I said, great.
Can I ask one
Go ahead.
question? How many fellows are working at
Just
this
the one.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, so there's the one guy taking orders
Okay.
and making the milkshakes.
Okay.
That's where
That
that's where a lot of the time is coming from.
Yeah,
I also it didn't seem like he was
brushed.
moving terribly quickly either.
Okay.
Yeah, he didn't seem terribly motivated as well.
He wasn't like a school bus full of children didn't just arrive.
No.
Okay.
No, there was one other person waiting for a milkshake that had ordered after us at this point.
Oh my god.
So yeah, no, he was not swamped. I didn't feel like if he had been a little more motivated, if he had been moving a little bit, he could have knocked these out in a couple of minutes.
Okay.
But that's not where his journey had taken him.
Okay.
So I go up, I say, you're not making it yet. Great. Let me just get my money back. I don't need a milkshake anymore. I've changed my mind about the milkshake. He goes, oh, okay. Let me figure out how to do that.
Oh my god.
Yep,
okay, never mind. I'm on next team now.
That's it.
Yep.
Yep.
That's like, I was like, okay, great. And so he like starts messing with the little, because it's
my
one of those square setups, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Square.
And so, which I'd feel worse for him if we didn't have a square setup for Ice Cream Social, and I know exactly
You're like,
how
"Let
to
me
give
tell you what to
refunds on this thing. Yeah, but he can't, like, he's looking for my order. He can't find it.
It was the one right before the one you just did.
Right. Correct. But he kept pulling up because all the orders are the same price.
Yeah,
and I'm like, here's the
refund
card.
any one of them.
Yeah, I'm like, but he was trying to refund it to a credit card or to a debit card, you know.
Oh,
and at one
yeah.
point, I was like, can you just give me cash?
Yes, yeah.
Like, just give me the cash for it. I don't
Yeah,
care. Give me like $9.
Yep.
And he said, no, I have to do it this way. And so then a few minutes later, he finally figures out how to do that.
Oh my god.
And then does it. And I look, and my phone buzzes. Okay, great. I got the refund. And I kind of look at it for a second.
No.
And he goes, oh, did you want me to refund the tip too?
Oh shit.
And at this point, I'm aggravated. So I say, yes, I will.
Yes, I do.
Yes. And he goes, oh, okay. And then he refunds the tip.
What would you think?
I was like, why would your assumption be keep the tip?
Yeah,
Just the tip.
because you've done such a great job
Right.
so far.
No,
I feel like
I didn't drop $1 into a jar and then reach back into the jar and take
Yeah.
it back.
Why
Like,
does that feel
digital.
worse?
It's
I
all
know.
it does kind of though.
Why?
Also
Like-
though, like you don't know, like I might have dropped $1 in there. I might reach in and take a $5 out or something like that. I guess I don't know. You might take a couple of bucks out. Whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, like at this point, I'm just aggravated.
Did they have a jar?
I don't know.
Oh, because that's what you should have done. You just give me one
that.
out of there.
Yeah.
Just-
I'll take your
He just said-
untaxed tip.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he just said, no, I can't do that.
Right.
Oh my god.
And so then I finally get my my refund about the time that the third person in our party got their milkshake.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
So I wasn't
Jeez.
holding anybody up. So there was that at least.
Well, we
Yeah.
knew no one was making the third one while you were talking to
Right. Yeah, the guy after us who was just waiting the whole time, he's just boned
Good
this whole
luck.
thing. And so we stand up, the three of them are walking with their milkshakes, and I am looking at their milkshake, and I tasted one of the milkshakes. It wasn't that great.
Oh,
It was
yeah. Okay, well,
fine.
good.
It was
Good.
fine, but it wasn't like amazing or
Because
anything.
it'd have been really bad if you're like, oh, that is really good.
Yeah.
I'll go
You know
back
what?
and get one.
I'm gonna
But
get
then
one.
about 5 steps later, we walked past the Cold Stone ice cream shop. And I was like, hold on.
skipping away with
I
your
just
nine.
ran inside, ordered a milkshake, and came right back outside. And then had a
Honestly.
Cold Stone milkshake that was like twice the size of theirs. They were like, how much was that? It was like about $6.
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
I mean, the only thing that would have been better is if you were by a Wendy's and
Yeah.
you could just get a Frosty. That's the best.
Oh my gosh. I
Are
was
you-
just talking about how In-N-Out's milkshakes are so good.
yeah.
I just had one of their chocolate milkshakes for the first time like
Oh,
a
yeah, they
month
have a good
ago. And it
milkshake.
was so good. I was like, maybe I just haven't had a milkshake in a while, but
And you're a little Jeezy this year.
Yeah.
And what?
You have a little more Jesus in your life now.
Yeah.
You're a little Jeezy this year.
I just learned that recently too. I was like, what?
Yeah, they've got the little Bible verse on there.
Yeah, so there's that. What were we gonna say?
I'm more of a malt. Like I miss chocolate.
Oh, I love a good malt.
Okay, so I had this whole conversation with a friend the other day. I'm like, what is the deal with a malt? Like, what's going on there? What makes something a malt?
It's just got some
thing?
malt
And
in
then
it.
they're like,
Oh,
it's just malt you add to it. I was like, what?
It's a chocolate shake with it's a shake with some malt in it.
Is that like the malt balls? Is that a thing?
Yeah,
Like
you
those
can
little
throw those.
candies?
You can throw those
Yeah,
in there.
yeah.
You can throw some Whoppers in the
Whoppers,
milkshake.
there we go.
Yeah, throw some Whoppers in the blender and blend it all up.
It's just a flavor or what?
Yeah, it's like a
Yeah, you've never had a malt?
Well, I mean, I've had one, but I don't
Oh.
understand like
Like the
what
difference between a malt and a
what
I think
makes
they
it
I
different.
think they used to have more commonly malted milk.
Yeah.
That was still liquid, and they would use the malted milk to make the milkshake malt.
Okay.
Yeah.
But now I think everybody just uses the powder.
Oh.
which is basically just ground up Whoppers.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
I hate
You
Whoppers.
could definitely just
Whoppers
throw
are
some
so
Whoppers in a
gross.
blender and
Yeah.
you've got malt.
Okay, well, I know
Wow.
what I'm doing tonight.
Yeah. Finding somewhere that sells Whoppers.
Honestly, it'd be easier just to find some place that sells a chocolate malt.
It would be.
Yeah.
I
Does
think
Brahms do
Sonic.
st- Wait.
There was a great place in West Des Moines, Iowa, and it was called Stella's, and it was like a 50s cafe.
Oh, yeah.
And so you'd go there and order a malt, and they had the best malts. And what they would do is they would pour them over your head. So like
The
you would,
hell?
yeah. So like you would,
I'm against this.
yeah. So no, so you would lay down like for
What?
the kids would like lay down on the floor.
Oh my
you
gosh,
just
this
hold-
isn't a
it's
real
one of
story.
those things.
No, you hold the glass on
Yeah.
your forehead, and the waitress will stand up on a chair, and she'll pour it from like 8 feet in the air right on.
This is
into
not
the
a real
glass.
thing.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. It was wonderful. It was so
Did
good.
they make it in the glass?
Yeah, they were good.
Oh my god.
Oh, they did not miss.
It's the same
Yeah,
deal like
it was-
Dairy Queen. When you ordered a Blizzard at Dairy Queen, they used to put that over your head and turn it upside down to show you that it wouldn't fall out, that it was thick enough to stay in the cup.
Yeah, they still turn it upside down, but not over the head. They must
Yeah.
have had
Too risky.
You got to pay them extra for that.
Yeah.
And then if you get a refund, they will not give you back that extra that you paid for to turn up your head.
Yeah.
No, they're like, no, we did do that for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is-
And you don't get your tip back either.
yeah,
there.
because this is a monarchy.
Right. You guys want to do an email?
All right,
Let's do it.
Oh, we got an email here from Sarah Smith titled, I miss my therapist.
I think you know her.
I think I do,
Are you
yeah.
related?
It's been a month since I've stopped seeing my therapist of over 3 years, not by choice, but by reasons of school requirements to fulfill my personal therapy hours. I thought I would crumble from having to go a month without any therapy at all. Met with a new therapist then took a month vacation, just had a second appointment. My feelings about this are a whole separate thing. Sure. On the plus side, and to my surprise and relief, I survived that month without therapy, proving to myself that I am indeed not overly dependent on it, a constant fear of mine. Also proving that therapy is just overrated in general, and nobody really needs it.
Agreed.
Now, all you need is this podcast.
Agree.
By now,
What do I care?
I'm really feeling a desire to reach out and check in with a previous therapist. And I'm wondering if I can or if I should. When our therapy was near to its end, I was undecided if it was going to be an end or if I would come back once I got my required 20 hours. For some reason, I feel like if I'm going to end, I shouldn't go back. Ultimately, we decided to call it a pause in our therapeutic relationship with the plan to, quote, get to graduation and then evaluate what my needs are at that point. But I'm welcome to come back if and whenever. I'm still undecided what will happen next summer, but I'm trying to make the best out of this situation in the meantime, which is really hard because so much is falling apart in life. Back to my question about reaching out. Sorry for getting sidetracked. My previous therapist made themselves way more available, still with good boundaries, than my new one, which is new for me. I don't have a lot of people I feel safe enough to go to when I'm feeling especially down, and I find myself slowly sliding that way, which is why I think I should reach out. But can I and should I? Hence, why I've decided to write here instead of sending an email that I may potentially regret. Any encouragement, qualms, quibbles, or quirky comments are welcomed. Signed, therapy producer Sarah Smith.
All right, Sarah. Well, thank you, first off, for being a therapy producer.
Yes.
We
Yeah.
appreciate that.
That's why you're at the front of the line today.
That's how that happens. And we're running out. So, but the two are not related. You got to the front of the line for being a therapy producer and
Yes.
we're out of questions.
We have other questions. It's more show.
Well, yeah.
There's at least two more questions.
I submitted both of them.
Jim, is this you?
My friend keeps letting ducks live in her yard.
Do something. Okay.
The HOA is after.
So the first thing that kind of caught my attention, you have to do therapy for school.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
very curious. I want to.
Have you ever heard of that?
No, I want Sarah to write in and tell me more about this.
More
or
info.
What's going on? Please send.
Yeah, or reach out to us on Discord too, because I'm kind
Yeah.
of curious about that. I have heard though, so I had a friend of mine that was working on her PhD, but it was a university a program that focuses on psychoanalysis.
Ooh. Okay.
And so they had a requirement that you have to go into psychoanalysis before you could actually finish your degree.
To be honest, hearing Jacob read through that, it kind of is interesting and makes a lot of sense to, I mean, I don't want to say like force people to go into therapy, but like if you're going to be a therapist, wouldn't you be expected to know what the other side is like?
I would
Having
think
experienced
I would
it.
think you would want this.
Yes.
Yes.
Like I want my therapist to have gone through therapy.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, I've had clients.
I want them to have gone through that ordeal.
I've had
Yeah.
clients come in, they're like, oh, do therapists need therapy? And it's like, yeah, your perspective, Jacob, is I want them to have gone through that, which makes sense. But some people are like, oh, are you okay? Like you're going to therapy?
Right.
You know, like the other end of that. I've heard both. So
Yeah. Well, it's the same way in the drug and alcohol world.
that's a great point.
Where like,
That's a
you know,
great
people
point.
are like, no, I
Nick,
want
how
somebody.
many drugs did you
yeah,
use?
I want somebody who's been where I've been. And other people are like, who are you to tell me? You did the same thing. And so
Ooh,
it's kind of
yeah.
this like, it's very divisive.
Yeah, very
you know?
divisive.
Yeah.
As far as going back to your therapist, from if I'm taking what you're saying and understanding it correctly, it sounds like you ended your time with your previous or your first therapist with the plan or idea that you could come back. Like they gave you, I guess, permission to come back and revisit if you feel like you need it. So I hear you saying you're feeling maybe like kind of anxious or worried about reaching back out to them, but it seems like your therapist told you, yeah, if you want to come back or feel like you need to, then I'm here and reach out. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Mm-mm.
Here's the thing, though, is it sounds like, and maybe I don't know, you guys can kind of correct me, but it almost sounds like
Nope.
Wrong.
all right, hear me out.
Nope.
there was a previous therapist
Yes.
that was
There was therapist A.
therapist A that ended.
Yes.
Always come back if you want to.
And Sarah really liked therapist A.
Yeah.
Yep. And then now we've got therapist B.
Yeah.
So, is it a conflict if you go back and visit therapist A while you're still a client of therapist B?
Oh, I see. Why
And would
that be
therapist
the
A and
comment.
therapist B have the same opinion as to whether that was a conflict?
That's true. Another good question.
Because if therapist A thinks it's not a conflict and therapist B thinks it is, well, now you've got a problem.
Okay, so presenting it from that perspective, that's a great point, Nick. And I think you would have to have a conversation. Sorry, you wouldn't have to. It would be great if you could have a conversation with therapist B. I mean, definitely you could just ghost them and not go back to your therapist B. Like, honestly, that is a thing some people choose to do. But as a therapist, preferably, we would like to hear you say, hey, you know, I plan on reaching out, or maybe if you already reached out to your first therapist again and things are working out there, just reach out to your second one and say, hey, I've found a better fit for me. I appreciate whatever
If
you've
nothing
given me
else,
so
just
far.
for like the bookkeeping.
Yes. So I'm
For
not
the second
calling you. If
therapist.
I'm the second therapist, I'm not like calling you or trying to like, yeah, it's kind of like just human respect.
It's just
more
polite,
than-
yeah.
more than like you need to do it, but it would be great if you did.
well, and another question. I mean, another thing that kind of comes up here too is like how that's billed.
How that's billed? What do you mean?
Yeah. Well, because if
it's
let's just say
insurance?
hypothetically, if there's like you're billing insurance, you can't have two therapists, like because insurance isn't going to do that unless there's something that is specific about those two therapists. Like
Right.
you're seeing one therapist for one thing, and then you have to see a second therapist for a very specialized
Something that they specialize in.
or something
Yeah.
like that, you know, very
That's true.
specialized, because otherwise you're going to run into conflict there. I run into that specific example I run into often in my job working with organizations.
But this doesn't
Where-
sound. I don't
I don't think so.
I don't think
that's
Sarah's
what's
asking if she
happening.
should go back to therapy with therapist A.
How did you understand it?
I understand this is just she's asking if it's okay to reach out and like say hi.
Oh, so like not having a session, just
Right.
kind of to touch base and
I
all
mean,
that.
she says I'm really feeling a desire to reach out and check in with my previous therapist.
Because they don't have people close to them. I
Right.
do see it. Okay.
Okay,
That's how I read
All right,
this.
No,
all
that-
right.
I
So
can
let's
see
just answer this question out of. Let's pick up like 5 most likely hypotheticals, and we'll answer
is a fun
each
game.
one of them. Okay. Number 1, let's assume you're committing insurance fraud.
Yeah. This is great.
Stop that.
All right. Stop doing that.
Don't do that.
All right. Number 2. All right. If you're wanting to go back to therapy with therapist A, Totally agree with
Yeah.
Whitney. I think the appropriate thing to do would be to end with therapist B and go back to therapist
Yes,
A.
I agree with that.
If you just let's go to Jacob's hypothetical.
Yeah.
She just wants to pop in and say hi.
You're just pals with your therapist.
It's it's difficult. I guess I should be careful how I answer this, because sometimes I do wonder. I'm like, man, I want to reach out to like random client, be like, how are you? Because I
Right.
would love to hear what the updates are with some of my like previous clients from 6 months, a year ago, whatever. Gosh, so if you had that relationship and you did say that they still had boundaries, your therapist A had boundaries, but was more available, that makes me think they would be open to you contacting them to check in. And I would put it on the therapist to share with you what their boundary is. Like if they're not wanting you to reach out, or they can only share so much information, or I don't know, not information.
Let me throw this in there, and let's see if that changes your opinion at all.
Sure.
It my assumption, and this is all pure assumption. My assumption is that they have not had a friend relationship up to this point. They have had a therapist and client relationship up to this point, and now they may have a friendly relationship as therapist and client, but their primary relationship is a working relationship as a healthcare provider and a healthcare consumer.
What's the limit or the boundary?
Yeah, because I mean, this is so. If I'm right, and they are just saying like, I want to reach back out to this person who I have a friendly rapport with, and just say hi. That's not where that relationship has been in the past. So does that color your perception of that at all, Whitney? Does that thought color that?
Yeah, like reading back through, I guess I want to make sure that if I were therapist A, when Sarah, you say that your therapist A paused that relationship and said we can reevaluate when you are at graduation. I guess I would say, and then they said, but I'm welcome to come back if and whenever. To me, if I'm therapist A, that means like for therapy. So I guess I'd clarify that in case there was some confusion there for Sarah. Is there something keeping you from being able to go back? Like, is therapist A only supposed to meet with you because you're in this education realm, or can you meet with them? Like, is there? I'm guessing there must be something that's in place, or a rule or something saying you can't meet with them or continue to meet with them or something.
Okay, well, let's just continue down the hypothetical.
I know. This is a fun game. I love it.
Hypothetical 3.
Yes.
Let's say, forget about the university thing or the school thing. Let's just say that she was a previous therapist.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing. Every board has its own ethics on relationships outside of therapy.
Yes.
Okay.
I would love for Jim to be here for this because he's on a different board than I am.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, we're
That's
different
right.
licensures.
Yes. So with what's the social work board?
Social work board is never.
Never.
You can never be friends, never date. Once you have seen somebody as a client, there is no connection after that.
Is it okay to just see them naked?
Well, duh.
Okay.
Only if they're on OnlyFans.
Good.
Because
that's the exception.
Because the board regulations were written before OnlyFans,
that
so that's
wasn't
the
a thing.
loophole.
So.
That's right.
The board's
they
blind
keep trying
spot.
to reevaluate, but nobody's letting them.
So the drug and alcohol board, it's 2 years. Okay.
I think a lot are 2 years or like 5 years, some of them.
So like, here's a good example. A former client of mine has been doing amazingly well. He's been out of treatment now, I think almost 5 years, maybe 6. And he was working as a substance abuse counselor for a while. He got licensed. He went through all of that.
Wow.
And we've kind of stayed in contact. If he's
like a peer now.
Yeah, like so if he's back in town, he'll reach out and he'll say, "Hey, I'm going to be in town. Do you want to meet up for coffee or something?" And so we'll meet up and we'll talk and everything.
Okay.
But here's the thing is he always contacts me and I never reach out to him.
Yeah.
And so, and that's just, I don't know if that's, that's not really because it's a rule saying I can't. That's just what I feel comfortable with.
Sure.
You know, and I do think that even though we are kind of like he's working in the field now and he's kind of a colleague in that sense. I'm still very, like, I treat him differently than how I would any other colleague.
Well, there's an imbalance there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I have to be aware of that. So obviously, we're friendly and all that, but it's different.
Yeah. And I guess I would say, Sarah, I would feel okay reaching out to your previous therapist. I don't think that you should, because you mentioned sending an email you may potentially regret. I can't see a scenario where you would regret like reaching out to your previous therapist, even if it's just saying, hey, I'm struggling. Maybe we can't like meet in a therapeutic realm, but I'm really needing some support. That at least, if you let your previous therapist know kind of what you're seeking and aren't just like, hey girl, what's up? Or if it's not a girl, whatever, but like, hey, what's up? Well, how are you? That leaves it a little more ambiguous. But if you're like, hey, I'm struggling, there's a lot going on in my life. I have started with a new therapist, but I really felt connected when we worked together. Like, what do you think?
I guess, the purpose of why you'd be reaching out is very important.
Yeah, if you're just needing support, I would even say that in the email, and then therapist A can at least maybe give you resources or or an encouraging word, even if it's not.
Or probably whatever your intention is with reaching out, just be open and honest about that.
Yeah.
If it's just like, hey, I really enjoyed talking with you and would like to, just be friends.
Yeah,
just say that.
Your therapist isn't gonna be like, "Oh my god!" Like they're not gonna think that. They're gonna try and meet you where you're at, especially if you had a good therapeutic relationship with them.
Yeah,
and they'll try and help you still, even if it's not, "Hey, let's do therapy together." But, yeah.
Your therapist can guide you in that.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good answer.
Yes,
Okay.
got a good answer.
Hypothetical 4.
All right, what is it?
Sarah gets bitten by a radioactive spider.
I thought you were gonna say Chucky.
No, that's ridiculous. Okay, radioactive spider. Does she
Spider-Man.
use her powers for evil to get back at the guy who won't refund her chocolate shake?
Absolutely. Get back.
Agreed.
But you know what? That guy's going through stuff, just like Freddy.
We're all going through
Sorry, he's
stuff.
going through stuff.
Freddie was the victim.
Yep.
So terrible.
Jacob,
Okay.
yep.
I hope
That's right.
we answered that question. If not,
we answered a lot of questions there.
I'm glad
I
Jacob
hope
was
it was
here
on one of the list of things that we answered.
No, I liked your interpretation, Jacob. That was awesome. Thank you.
Well, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we are going to talk about emotional debt ceilings. You're listening to Pod Therapy.
Today's episode is brought to you by Smitty Scoop, Nathan's Hot Dog Scoop, Mason Miller, Tess Miller, Byler T, Paris, Team Monaco, Oscar Swanros, and Hannah Marie. And if you want to become a therapy producer, go to patreon.com/therapy and sign up. This week's trivia theme, in honor of our therapy producers, is airport codes.
Okay.
Ooh,
So it's a showdown because I came up with this one, so I can't play.
Dang
Okay.
it.
So this is Whitney versus Jacob.
Great.
Okay, I will give you the airport. I will give you the airport. You got to come up with the code.
Okay.
Okay, now
7.
no.
Final
All right.
answer.
Okay, this is probably going to be multiple choice. Then I'm guessing.
Okay.
I'll give you 2. I'll give you
I've
2
got-
points. 2 points if you can get it without the
Great.
without the.
Okay.
Okay. Paris Charles de Gaulle. The 3-letter airport code. So first off, you know what I'm talking about with
Yes.
3-letter airport
Yeah.
code. Okay.
Yeah, I do.
Is Las Vegas?
LAS.
Yeah, I was going to ask if that's one.
Los Angeles, LAX.
That's
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Okay.
I guess I'm gonna wait for the options.
Okay.
This is the airport in Paris. Yeah. Paris,
Yes.
France. Yes. Yeah. I don't know. So I'll take the options as well.
PAR,
Uh-huh.
CDG, PCG, CGP.
Huh.
Ooh, I think I'm gonna go with B.
CDG.
What was C?
C was PCG.
And then what was D?
CGP.
I'm torn between B and D. Gosh, I guess I'm gonna go with D. Final answer.
All right.
Okay.
I'll just go A. I'll just go par.
P.
PAR. No.
I didn't think that was it.
PAR is Paris Metro.
Oh.
CDG is Charles de Gaulle.
That was my first. I should have gone with my gut.
Yep, should have gone with it. CGP is Chittagong Shah Amanat
You would not
International.
end up
That's
where you
why I
wanna
didn't
go.
pick that one. 'Cause
Oh,
I knew that
knew
was
it.
that.
Yeah,
Yes.
obviously.
Yes, we all know that
Jacob
one.
knew that one.
All right. Orlando International.
I know this one.
Oh.
Somebody's been to Disney World.
Yeah.
I'll wait for Jacob, and if he doesn't guess, then I'm pretty sure.
I thought it was just ORL.
Is that what you're guessing, or are you going to wait for the
Nah.
options?
No, I'm going to wait for the options.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's MCO.
Okay.
Okay. Your options are MCO,
Okay.
ORD, ORL, ISM.
Well, Whitney didn't go with her instinct last time, so
I
I'll
didn't.
go with mine. I'll stick with ORL. Although I couldn't
Okay.
tell you the last time I've flown into Orlando, so I really don't know.
All right. Whitney takes the lead 2-0.
There you go.
My in-laws are flight attendants out of Orlando.
ORL is Orlando Metro.
Gotcha.
Okay. Last one for this round.
Okay.
Hong Kong International. Okay.
Just-
I used to know this one.
oh no,
Shit.
I don't know. I'm going to need the options.
Okay. So Jacob could tie if he can come
Yeah,
up
no, I'm not going to tie. Give me the
Okay.
options.
with it. Okay. HEM, CHK, HON, HKG.
I think D.
Yeah, I think it's D as well.
It is D.
Yep.
HKG.
Yeah.
All right. It is 3-2.
All
We'll
right.
save the rest.
That's 3-1.
3-1.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, 3-1.
correct.
I only have one.
Trying to cheat me with his man.
I was. You caught me.
That's it. We have an email here entitled Parents Think I Owe Them from Anonymous. Hey, you guys, I need your advice, please. This is really tricky to condense into a short question, but I'll try my best. I'm a 33-year-old female. My mom has always acted as though I owe her something. She sees things as I did X, Y, and Z for you, so you owe me the same amount in return, despite the fact that she is my parent. For example, she will reference the time that she helped me put some shelves or fed my cat 8 months ago, and so now I need to help her as I haven't repaid that favor yet, with very little regard to whether or not it's a good time for me. If I say no, I rarely do, then she tells me that I'm selfish. It's better than her telling you that you're a shellfish.
Oh, is it?
Your father was a shellfish. My dad always agrees with my mom. Oh, well, there goes my shellfish story. My dad always agrees with my mom. I think mainly to keep on my mom's good side. You're sort of either with my mom or against her. They've told me that I'm selfish since I was young. I've grown up to be an adult who is a massive people pleaser and struggles to set boundaries because of my parents telling me that I'm selfish / only think of myself / mean, etc. I'm also very anxious. I have a diagnosed anxiety disorder and suffer with bouts of depression. I'm on medication for this. I don't want to play the victim. I accept that I am an adult and play a role in this, and I've been in therapy for 2 years to work on my anxiety, setting healthy boundaries, and just generally improving myself. I am writing this question now because I finally said no to my parents. Not because I finally decided to put my foot down, but because I already had plans booked and paid for when they needed my help, so I had to say no. I said it very apologetically and kindly. They were so incredibly angry, telling me to never ask for anything again, and that this is so selfish, even for the likes of me. I don't give a fuck about anybody but myself. They are no longer speaking with me. This has left me feeling incredibly guilty, even though I know logically I don't need to feel this guilty. I'm also really scared. I don't have much of a support system outside of my cat and my therapist, so it feels terrifying. But I'm also really tired of always feeling like I owe them something and feeling scared whenever I accept their help with something because I know I will need to repay it to the point I try... I got it. Because I know that I will need to repay it to the point so that I try not to ask for any help and to be as independent as possible. I'm pretty sure that's pretty much what that meant. Yeah. I don't know where to go from here. Am I like Taylor Swift and the problem is me, but I'm just not seeing it? Help! And that's anonymous.
To all future writers, please reference Taylor Swift because it'd be awesome if we just go every episode. There's some sort of tie-in.
Right.
Hi, I'm the problem.
All right.
It's me.
This is a tough one.
I'm so sorry that your parent is putting all of that onto you. Like, oh my gosh, I just feel for the writer in that aspect.
It's shitty to feel like your mom is kind of in that boat against you. It's also really shitty that your dad, that you don't feel like your dad kind of takes up for you in that.
Like gaslighting almost. Like they're just like, yeah, you are in the wrong. Like there's two people now saying it. It's not just one.
Yeah.
And when your parents are, in theory, supposed to be your support system and supposed to be there for you, they're turning it around and putting that pressure on you to be there for them. And then, laying that guilt all on you.
And of course, we should say, and I don't feel like this is the case here, but I should say, we say it every now and then, we are only getting the writer's point of view on this. And because the writer is the listener to the show, we agree with the writer.
Yes.
So we just agree with that point of view, and we're now going to address this question, agreeing with every point the writer has made in that letter.
That is how this works. 100%.
That's the information we've got. That's the information we're rolling with.
Yeah. So far, it doesn't sound like, according to you,
no,
you are the problem.
No, it does not. Especially like I had to not do them a favor because I already had something booked. That's just kind of an A-B statement.
Oh, gosh.
The other thing, too, with this is, like, it's different. I don't know. Like, the relationship kind of changes as you become an adult child of parents as opposed to, like, you're a kid.
And
like,
they are, they're 33.
Yeah. I mean, I know, some parents who have kind of, like, jokingly kept track of everything that they've paid for their kids.
Sure.
As almost kind of like a way of, like, okay, you realize I've spent $100,000 on you since you were born, type thing.
Yeah.
Which is, kind of funny as a joke. But like, if anybody
not that funny.
Yeah,
to all you parents out there, I don't think it's that funny.
Yeah, but like, if anybody ever took that seriously, as in like, because I do know that has happened.
Yeah.
Like, I know somebody whose parents were like that when they were in like junior high and high school, where it's almost kind of like, okay, well, I did this for you, so you owe me this.
I know someone whose adoptive parents are like that.
Oh my God, that's horrendous.
I'm like, you are fucking monsters.
Oh my God.
That is terrible.
Yeah.
Because it's like, no, like,
because I mean, like, obviously that's like you can't repay that. Like where the fuck are you supposed to go from there?
Yeah, it's not like, you didn't sign a contract. It's not like you entered into this like with an agreement.
And they were like 3 years old when they got adopted.
Oh my God.
They weren't adopted, when they were 17 or anything.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Well, that's always been my like perspective too, is the fact that the child didn't ask to be born. So like from this mother's perspective, like, hey, it's like, excuse me, you brought me into this world. Like, I'm just a person here. Oh.
Yeah, and I get it. Like once you become an adult, relationships change, and then, but even like that, like, I mean, for me, in my perspective in my life, I don't think if I needed something, my parents wouldn't keep a tab.
Yeah,
no.
They wouldn't be like, oh, okay, yeah, we'll do this, but then you owe me this. It's more just kind of like, oh, all right, you need help. Okay, great. We'll help you out. But also they also know, I mean, think we have that relationship because they know that I would not do that. I would not take advantage of it. Right. So it's just kind of like that. But, I think, I mean, it's different than like a relationship with friends where like, if you feel like you're in a one-sided relationship with a friend, hey, can you house sit for me? Or, hey, can you do this for me? And all that. But then they like, whenever you want to say like, oh, well, can you do this for me? And they're like, oh no, I can't. If it's very one-sided like that, then you stop being friends, or you kind of put some distance.
You stop doing favors, you stop, anything like that.
Yeah. This I gotta say, I'm on your side, Ryder, and I really feel.
And I assume that they want to continue having a nice relationship with their parents, or at least an amicable one.
It kind of sounds like the writer almost needs to in some way, or they feel like they need to.
Sure.
I don't know if you need to. I was kind of wondering that. I mean, these are just questions I'm thinking is when you say I don't have a lot of support other than like my cat and my therapist, so it's scary to pull away from my parents. I wouldn't be surprised if there's other things going on that your parents are like not making you feel that way, because nobody can make you feel that way, but are like influencing that perspective.
Oh yeah.
To that guilt.
Yeah. Like anytime that I help you out, I'm going to make sure you know I'm helping
Yep.
you out.
You can't live without me.
Exactly.
You need me.
So
Which is
Whitney,
a
I think-
terrible way to raise a child.
That's a terrible way to interact with people.
Just people.
Forget like children and parents. That's just a bad way to interact with people.
Yeah. Like,
Now, I think it sounds like Whitney agrees with what I'm going to say, which is dump the parents and get 2 more cats.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. And now you have 3 cats and a therapist.
A lot
all the
more
support you need.
Yeah. Those cats will be there for you.
Yeah.
I love cats.
Like if you die in your home, they'll eat you.
yeah.
Hey, no evidence.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
Oh my
I think,
gosh.
but I do think like the message here with all of this is I really would encourage you to kind of start, and I know it's really scary, and I think it's scary. I agree with Whitney. I think it's probably scary because you've been brought up to believe that it's scary.
Sure.
And I think once you kind of start branching out and you start, meeting new
that a little.
people, starting to develop a support system outside of them, I think you're going to realize that, there's so much more that the world has to offer. And you do have support. You do have people who care about you, and you can build a social support network outside of them, which, I mean, I can't speak for your parents, but I would say if I had to guess, that's probably one of the things that they're afraid of.
Yes.
Is because I know that sometimes parents put their own value, they make their own value based off of how valuable they are to their children.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but I think like this could be an example of how that goes bad, where it's like my identity is as a father. And then it kind of becomes scary when all of a sudden now this child is an adult, and it's like, oh, now who am I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you kind of have to rediscover yourself. And so this natural tendency is to be like, oh, well, they still need me. They still need me. And
Yeah.
and I
And
have
they
to
owe
still,
me.
yeah, and I have to stay in this role, and
Yeah.
so
That's a great point.
so they're probably dealing with their own shit too.
Sure.
Absolutely.
What do you think of doing something crazy? Because
I love
I am often in the boat in favor
No,
of
do I
doing
want to know
something
what
crazy.
Jacob's about to say?
I have a thought. If their house, say, has a mortgage or has rent that they pay every month, what if you just start paying that bill every month? If you're financially able to just be like, yeah, I paid your mortgage this month. I don't know you shit.
Oh, I was like, you owe me.
Okay, you're not far off because I had this exact same thought.
I gotta hear
no,
that.
I started the thought. My first thought was, what if you just write them a check
That's
for
exactly what my thought
$50,000?
was. No, that's exactly what my thought was. My thought was to approach him with a checkbook and just a pen and just click, click. All right,
What do I owe you?
what do I owe?
Yeah, let's
settle
up.
this right now.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to walk out.
Yeah,
I had that thought.
that was my first thought was honestly like hand them a check for $50,000 or $100,000 and be like, if you think I owe you, go cash this.
Yeah.
And I don't know what's in your bank account, obviously, Ryder. But take that and run with it however you want to run with that middle game. I don't actually suggest doing that.
Yeah.
That's where your
because
first
then,
thought went.
because then they can just cash that check.
And
then you're
they'll
out.
still give you shit for the rest
Exactly.
of your life.
But
Hey, if that check bounces, it bounces.
yeah, yeah.
yes. But if their rent/mortgage is say $2,000 a month, $1,500 a month, and you are able to, and again, this is a big if because I know not everyone is able to do something like this. Most people are not. But if you are able to, that's kind of a big ass power move there
It is.
that you could also use to facilitate opening some doors to having a little bit of discourse about this, which I think is what you actually want to do. And if you just say like, I paid your rent this month. You're asking me for a favor. I already paid your rent this month.
Yeah.
I don't owe you shit. If you want to hang out, if you want to have dinner, if you want to talk, and we can be parents and child, fucking awesome. That'd
Yeah.
be great. I'd love it if we did that. But I don't owe you anything.
Yeah.
Now, let's assume the writer doesn't have that fuck you money.
Yes.
Damn it.
Because, yeah,
And honestly,
that was my first thought.
you don't
too.
have to do that every month. I think you have
Oh,
to do
yeah,
it
yeah.
one time.
Yeah.
I feel like
I think if you did that something like that one time, that would be enough to swing those doors open and be like, yeah, this is how I feel now. That feeling that you have right now that like, oh, my kid just paid my rent and I feel like a shitty parent because of these things. That's how I feel every time you try to lord a favor over me.
yeah.
You want to sit down and talk about this, or you want to keep doing this?
I mean, the other thing I thought that you could do too, if you really wanted, as another real power move,
yeah,
is do a bunch of really, really small stuff that they're not asking for.
Right.
And then keep a tab on it.
You just show
Just
up like once a week and mow the lawn.
Yeah.
You don't even like ring the doorbell when you're done. You just show up and mow the lawn and then leave.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then like text them later and be like, mowed the lawn
Mow the
today.
lawn. Yep.
Did the hedges, did some edging.
Yep. Took your garbage out.
Just start doing lawn work.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like this mom would never have enough, though. She would always find something else.
I don't know. Embarrassment is so powerful.
More than ego?
I think so, because embarrassment takes ego and can just crush it. It can,
But I
think
think-
you can crush yourself internally from embarrassment, and if that ego is so bloated, which is what it sounds like it is here. I mean, this could be popping the balloon.
I mean, okay, you're going to have to be the logical one here because I'm on Jacob's
I love
side.
it. Go
All
for
right.
it.
So-
I'm here for it. I'm ready.
I have sucked Nick into my vortex
I'm
of crazy
ready.
over here.
This is your
The vortices.
know your role for today.
Yeah.
All right. No, because I like the idea of driving this to a place of ridiculousness.
Yes.
But like, where's the limit though? So like, Jacob says like mow the lawn. I feel like if you have raised a child, it's like I changed 1,000 dirty diapers. I've paid for all of your medical. Like I don't know. The limit doesn't exist for the mom.
I don't think I don't think you have to find. Okay, I think I see our disconnect here. I don't think you have to do favors or pay the rent or whatever it is to the point where mom says, "Oh shit, we're even."
No.
Right.
Yes.
I think all you have to do is do just enough that month so that next time mom asks for a favor and says, "Well, you owe me this because I did this and this." All you need is that little bit of ammunition to be like, "Yeah, since you bought dinner though, I've mowed the lawn 3 times, done the hedges, and did your laundry."
And you don't think mom will come back at you?
No, I think she absolutely will.
She will.
But as soon as you have something to push back with, oftentimes, I think that's enough to deflate that a little bit.
I agree, and I think it's even better than that because then I think the point that you're driving home now is the amount of effort that mom has to put in to tallying all of her stuff versus all of the child's stuff. And just to a point of ridiculousness where everybody involved can just say, okay, this is crazy, right?
And I think
No, she won't get there. The mom won't get there.
But I think that's where
mom.
I think that's
I
where
know,
the
but
writer.
it's
I'm
fun
gonna
to
come.
think.
I know you can think it.
I think that's where the
Let me
writer
have
can
my
start,
fun.
though.
Yes.
I think the writer can
gonna
start
shut it
next
down.
time. Next time the offer or next time the debt is called in, the writer just by being able to say, "Yeah, but I did X, Y, and Z this last week for you. Do you really want to keep doing this on a transactional relationship level, or can we just behave like parents and a kid?"
So that would be the simple.
That's
that
my
would be
thought is
the-
like use that as the boot that kicks open the door. And now I'm here in this moment. We're gonna have a fucking talk about this, mom.
Okay.
in a perfect world, that'd be great.
Now,
What do you
I don't think it
Nick?
fixes things.
okay. Writer,
Not instantly, anyway.
Writer,
It just feels good while you're doing it.
It really does.
to the writer, if let's just say you don't see the logic in Jacob's plan, if you don't want to do
Then
that,
you at least need several more cats.
Go with the cat.
okay, if you don't like plan A, plan
Was Planet
B,
of the Cats or the financial stuff?
financial stuff,
Okay.
the financial tug of war,
Great.
that we'll call that. If you don't like that plan, is there a path towards reconciliation for this relationship?
Mm-hmm.
That's the question. I don't think so. I mean, I think yes, but the relationship's different now.
Yeah, I agree. It sounds kind of horrible to be like no, but kind of no. I mean, my reaction to this is I guess you mentioned it in your letter. You said I've been in therapy for 2 years to work on anxiety and setting boundaries, just generally to improve myself.
Mm-hmm.
But it sounds like you haven't mentioned setting a boundary yet until you had to. Like I had to say no because I physically
I wasn't able to.
to.
Yeah.
And mom's reaction, that's what tells me this is either going to be a huge long uphill battle or maybe not ever. Her response to that when you couldn't, I'm telling you, I don't give a fuck about anybody but myself, like that you don't give a rat's ass about anyone but yourself. They're not speaking to you. Like, to me, that just screams like power struggle.
Yeah.
And the power you have to show them is withdrawing the ability for them to have that power over you, which is kind of a little bit what Jacob's saying. Like, let me just like assert dominance over you, right?
I have some
like,
suggestions on how you could draw that
Jacob,
authority.
go on. Life coach Jacob's coming out.
I think, because I think Whitney's idea. I mean, your idea is like
more fun.
Let's get into this.
Let's TP their house.
Let's do this.
Your house?
Yeah.
You don't remember that toilet paper?
Yeah, no, I know what TPing a house is. I don't know why it's relevant in this.
It felt like a great power move there.
Sure.
You know who did it.
Oh, that's the power move. TP her house,
Daily.
then clean it up.
Daily.
Then clean it up, and then demand that you get credit for cleaning up the mess.
Create that is the key.
An unknown party TP'd your house, but I cleaned it up.
Yes. Oh, that's plan A.
That's my
That
genius.
unknown
By
party
far.
also shit on your front porch. I didn't clean that up.
I gotta hear more of Jacob's ideas.
But I do like Whitney's idea, because Whitney's idea, I think plan A is that power struggle.
Yeah.
Plan B is just taking your ball and going home. It's just kind of
That's
like
gonna make
it's
her
just-
crazy.
Yeah, it's just kind of withdrawing. It's like, all right, I'm not going to play your game.
Yeah.
You know, if you're going to do all this crazy shit, it's like what they say, like, you know, playing, what is that saying? Like playing chess with a pigeon or something. It's like, it's just going to shit on the board and make you miserable, right? So don't play the game.
Right.
You know, so I think it's kind of like in that sense too. It's like, you know, you're not going to win that game. I don't think you're going to win the game by, like, you know, saying, well, I'll do this and then you do that, and then it's ridiculous. So I think you just kind of like say, like, okay, I need to withdraw.
Yeah.
I'm not going to ask you for anything. You don't ask me for anything. We can be friendly. We can be cordial. We can be, you know, we can still celebrate holidays together. But, you know, if you're going to be keeping score, then it's not worth it.
Yeah, and I want to acknowledge how difficult that can be, especially when you've been like brainwashed into thinking you might need these toxic people in your life.
Yeah.
Like, feel free to get some separation. Most of my clients I've worked with that have and this means different things for different people, but somewhat toxic parents is pulling away. And that means this one client used to call their parent, you know, every other day, at least every week. And when they didn't, they were like feeling badly about it. But then when they realized how badly they felt interacting with their parent on a weekly basis, they pulled back, and talking to them every 2 weeks or every month, they were like, wow, I'm feeling better, even though it's still a like mental turmoil going on there, that you're not connected to your parents because society tells us to be, they've told us we need to be, you need me, you can't do life without me. Trying your best to just set a limit. So if they're not talking to you, I mean, I would say I'm not going to reach out to them first. They've made that decision. So I don't know. That's where I would go.
And there is a common theme, or like this, not a theme, a belief that parents deserve respect simply by being parents.
Yes.
And that
It's very Gen X and above.
And it's one of those things where like that from a societal evolutionary perspective, it makes sense for kids, because kids can't make decisions on their own. So they need to respect the decisions made by the parents because they know better, right?
Yeah.
But in adulthood, that becomes toxic.
Yeah.
And like there's so many when I was working at a treatment center, everybody had issues with their parents.
Yeah.
And like some of these parents were absolutely terrible and just very toxic.
Sure.
But the clients that I was working with were just like, oh, like, you know, this is my mom. I have to be nice to my mom, and I got to respect my mom. And it's like, why? Because she shat you out of her womb? Like,
Well, because everyone is hoping to get to a good relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's part of it.
And just
too.
have that, you know, daily nice relationship with their parents.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the ideal.
Yeah. And that I kind of get where it comes from, you know, but I also agree that like sometimes the step forward is a step back.
But that's
where you
also
kinda withdraw.
I mean, that's also what you're saying, Nick, is that's also exactly what this writer is writing about. That is the keeping score. I birthed you. I gave you life. So now you owe me, at the very least, ultimate respect as your parent. Now this parent is taking things in a different direction. They want that respect, and they want constant favors and everything else as well. but it's the same game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, I agree. I think, and here's the thing, like I realize the advice that we're giving you is probably causing you a lot of anxiety, because again, you've kind of been brought up to fear this independence.
Mm-hmm.
You've kind of been told that you are very dependent on them and you have to stay dependent on them. But I think now is a really good time, to allow yourself to feel uncomfortable, become independent, start kind of creating a life for yourself outside of them, develop a social life, meet some new people and develop that support system. Start kind of pulling back a little bit. And I agree. I think it's going to be scary, as Whitney said, but I also think it's probably going to provide you a lot more relief than what you think it will.
It'll be like a big poop. It'll hurt a little bit coming out.
Yes.
But once it's out, wow, it'll just feel great.
Now I understand you.
Yeah.
You're speaking my language.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Also, the other answer that none of us have given yet for some reason is if you can get your parents to either go to therapy with your therapist or on their own, that's also great. Do that. Do that if it's possible. I believe we all understand that may not be possible.
She's got a therapist, doesn't she?
No, Ryder has a therapist.
Oh, yeah. Why are you asking us?
you can. Oh, we should have skipped this. I'm just kidding.
No, I do appreciate you asking us. That was a joke. But I do think like your therapist.
Stay in your lane, Nick.
I think your therapist. I think your therapist could offer you some suggestion on this too. But and like I think your therapist can kind of be your guide.
Yeah.
When we're talking about withdrawing and dealing with that anxiety and that fear that you have, I think your therapist can kind of help process that with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and remember that even if you, like Nick was saying, pulling back some to give some space there, and I mentioned that as well, I think reminding yourself it's not forever. I think sometimes anxiety can make us feel like whatever decision we're making is forever, but it's not. It's short term. Potentially, it depends on how things go. If you feel amazing not talking to your parents as much, then maybe that continues. If it works, keep doing it.
Yeah.
But just I think sometimes if it's like, oh, I'm not talking to my parents, what does that look like for the rest of my life? And it's like, just take these in short bursts, short sections. It's not a forever thing. It's, hey, let me spend a month pulling back. Let me, just small steps. So
Yep. It's only that day.
That day.
I mean, like this is where I would normally call my mom.
Yeah.
I'm just not going to call her today.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Just taking little steps back like that. It's not a huge deal. It's not life changing. Every little move you make is not a life changing move.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's just that.
It's a journey.
Yeah. Oh, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we are going to discuss collateral damage. You're listening to Pod Therapy.
Today's episode is brought to you by...
Bought and paid for by...
It is. Smitty Scoop, Nathan's Hot Dog Scoop, Mason Miller, Tess Miller, Byler T, Paris, Team Monaco, Oscar Swanrose, and Hannah Marie. And if you would like to sponsor the show, become a therapy producer at patreon.com/therapy. Okay, here we go.
Let's do it.
Some of these I think you'll get.
LAX.
Oh, man. No. London Heathrow.
Oh.
Anybody want to go for the 2-pointer?
I've flown into it. Landed and everything.
Yep, and that gets you no points.
Yeah, I need the options. I have an idea in my head, but I'm not confident.
Okay. ENG,
Mm-hmm.
LHR, HEA, LHE.
I'll go C.
HEA.
Yeah.
Oh, I was thinking about selecting that one too. What was DLE LH?
LHE.
I'm gonna go C also because that's what
Boo.
my gut was. Sorry, it's what I was gonna think.
HEA. No.
Shit.
We're both wrong.
HEA is Herat, Afghanistan. That's
what I was thinking of. Yeah.
You guys are getting your
when I went there
vacations
last year.
mixed up. Yeah. No.
Is it D?
It's B.
Shit.
LHR. London
There you go.
Heathrow.
It's just an anagram.
Got
Okay.
nothing.
This one you guys I think will get.
Go.
Houston, George Bush Intercontinental.
I
maybe
guess
I'm wrong.
I'm gonna go for it. HOU.
It's HOU.
Okay, you're both.
Yep.
Yeah.
Locked in. Oh, no, wait. Hold on.
Or is it GB?
No, it's not that.
It's not?
Uh-oh.
I think
I don't
HOU. I'm sticking with mine.
All right,
My 2
hold on.
points.
Is this one that starts with an
GBI?
I?
Apparently for Jacob,
Wait,
locked in means absolutely nothing.
Read the whole
I
name again.
unlocked it.
Houston,
I
George
was starting to lock it.
Is Houston George Bush Witt?
George Bush Intercontinental.
Yeah.
I think it's GBI, maybe.
It's-
But I'm going to go with HOU.
You're going. So you're locked in.
I'm
HOU.
still locking in
Okay.
HOU.
I think it starts with an I.
Oh.
I think it's like IH.
AH or something? Or
Yeah.
Oh,
I
I
think it's
think
something
you're
like
right.
that.
Shit.
Yeah.
I think you're
I'm
right.
going-
I'm still
I'm
locked
going
in, though.
IAH.
I think you're right or closer. I'm going HOU.
She's locked in at HOU.
We got a tie game.
Oh!
Damn it.
It is IAH.
Yes.
Now, I feel like almost giving you a half a point. Because HOU is Houston. That's William P. Hobby.
That's
There's
Hobby.
2. Yeah, there's 2
No,
there.
that's a different
Yeah,
airport.
it is.
That is a very different airport from Bush. Hobby is a
That's for
lot
Southwest,
easier.
right?
Yeah,
That's why
Southwest
I know
flies
it.
into
That's
Hobby.
like Southwest.
And Hobby is so much easier to get in and out of than Bush Intercontinental.
I've flown into Bush once. That's the only time I've flown.
I have
into
had
Houston.
people dropped off at the wrong airport in Houston.
Oh,
Like, oh,
really?
shoot, I need to
Yeah,
go to the other one.
that's not good because they are not next door.
IH, yeah. Okay, well done.
Okay, last one for this round.
Okay.
And then I got a tiebreaker for the end of the show.
All right.
Istanbul Airport.
Boom, 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 ba-doom, boom,
Oh, I gotta hear the
ba-dum,
options.
ba-dum.
Okay, you want the options?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Jacob, I will stare at you till I get them.
Okay, Istanbul Airport. ISB YYZ IST ICN.
C.
Constantinople.
IST.
Yeah.
What was A?
It's probably a trick.
A
'cause
was
it's Nick.
ISB.
Sure, I'll take that.
Okay, Whitney's up by 1. It is IST.
Yay!
I should have gone gamesmanship and just gone with whatever
Oh,
Whitney
you should
said.
have, yeah. ISB is Islamabad International.
There
so
it
again,
is.
You
Yep.
just
I just got
So
confused.
close,
Yeah,
yeah.
so close.
Istanbul, no Constantinople.
Yeah, so the last one, the tiebreaker, will be worth 8,000 points.
Good. Good.
we're
As is
still in
tradition.
this. Yes.
Therapy for kids during a combative divorce. And this is from SC Scoop. Hello, Pod Therapy team. So a divorced friend of mine is in a battle with her ex over the custody of their 2 children. The middle school age daughter really doesn't want to spend time with the father, and there are some things about her life that she and the dad strongly disagree on to the point that she has threatened violence. My friend doesn't want to call the police and get them involved because she is afraid that she would be put into a psych ward. The daughter is on the spectrum, so I think she is having a lot of trouble being forced into the situation with someone she doesn't like. She wanted to not go to the father's home at all. The other child is a good bit younger and has less issues with it.
Okay, so I'm going to stop. So I think she doesn't want to call the police because she's worried, not that the friend is going to go to the psych ward, that the daughter.
The daughter. So
Is going to go to the
I
psych
believe
ward.
what this means is the mother,
Yes.
who SC Scoop is writing in about, the mother does not want to call the police because the mother is concerned that her daughter, who is
go
a
to
middle school aged child, will end up in the psych ward. Between that and being on the spectrum and having threatened a little violence as well.
Gotcha. Okay. I'm caught up.
The father doesn't appear to have much concern for either of their well-being and isn't meeting some of their basic needs like cleanliness and food needs, and seems to be mainly concerned with paying less child support because of the shared custody. The father reluctantly agreed for them to see a therapist, but wanted to know everything that was said and asked the therapist to try to talk them into being okay with having to spend the allotted time with him. Have any of you dealt with kids and adversarial parents making demands like that? If a parent came to you with concerns like these, how did you deal with it? Is it safe to talk to a therapist if you don't want your child checked into a psych facility? What is the process by which a young person might be forced into an institution? That's a lot of questions, rapid fire right there.
Yep. That's a shotgun. That's what we call that.
Yeah. We're going to come back to that, I bet, quickly.
We can handle that because we're professionals.
Yeah. I realize the info that I'm seeing is from one side, but the ex's actions have seemed downright comically villainous. Moving into the same neighborhood without informing her, at most mildly interested in fun stuff with one of the two kids, often trying to drop them off early. He let the younger kid walk home last at night and has even allowed him to play with firearms in his home. We don't know how secure they are.
Okay.
At one point, because he left a 9-year-old at home at night for 4 hours when in a house full of guns. Okay. I don't, that's a weird sentence structure, but I think we all understand what happened there.
Yep.
He has also tried to take away a court-mandated ability to contact the mother by taking away cell phones. Oh, so I guess the kids had cell phones and the dad is taking them away.
Yep.
It's been a real and very expensive nightmare for her. I wonder if a therapist might be an avenue of providing to the court or proving to the courts that he is unfit. Is that something that happens? Is there a point at which there would be a duty to report? Thanks, guys. The show is great, and I always look forward to it. Whitney has been a great addition, too. I appreciate all that you do. I'll try to send in some more trivia for you. Thank you. That's the SC Scoop.
Thanks, SC Scoop.
Oh,
No, I'm finally here for some of this credit.
All right, I'm going to ask you guys questions in the order that I want to ask them.
Take it.
All right, go.
What is the process by which a younger person might be forced into an institution?
Okay, so for that
Let's start
to
with
happen,
one of the big ones.
That is a big one.
All right. You probably have more to offer, so I'm going to take this first, and then you can fill in the gaps.
Sure, yeah.
For a young person to be put into an institution against their will, there has
And presumably
to be,
against the parents' will as well.
right.
Yeah.
I mean, there has to be some sort of threat of imminent danger. So either the kid is going to hurt themselves or is going to hurt somebody else. And it's not just the possibility that they could, it's imminent danger.
This kid seems like they might be a danger to themselves or others. That's not going to cut it.
No.
It's
like
this kid is getting weapons.
Actively homicidal, actively suicidal.
Making statements or actions that
They
you believe
got a knife and
will follow
lunged
through.
at someone and cut them, not seriously, but attacked them with a weapon.
Example, yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Mental health is not something that like everybody who's got any kind of mental health issues is automatically locked up, and the only way they're free is just because we haven't caught them yet.
Not yet. It's not like that yet.
Yes. Yeah.
I feel like we're moving that direction.
Yeah. And so, but I'm glad you're asking these questions because these are good questions. These are questions that like people, that's why we started this show, is to kind of correct some of this stuff, because this is a real fear that people have, and why they don't seek help is because they feel like if they do seek help, that they're going to get locked up and put away. And that doesn't happen unless there's, like I said, imminent danger.
Yeah.
Do you have anything you want to add to that, Whitney?
No, that pretty much covers it. The number one reason I would see kids institutionalized, basically, or overnights, like we call it L2K here, Illegal 2000 in Nevada, is if they were in danger of hurting themselves or others.
Now, there's times where I'm thinking like, kids
if they were psychotic, I mean, that would be another one, but that's a whole...
Or the other thing I was thinking of too is like, I mean, in our work, where we used to work together, if like the parents couldn't take care of the kids,
right,
then the kids would go into like, but it's not like a legal like hold, but
it wouldn't
it's
be a mental health
hold. It's more like they just find a safe place for them, a safe placement,
a foster home or something of that nature.
Yeah. But that's I don't see that being kind of the case here.
Yeah.
So I'm going to combine a couple of these questions here. Is it safe to talk to a therapist if you don't want your child checked into a psych facility? Part of that we just talked about there. But then I also want to combine that with, is there a point at which there would be a duty to report? Because I want you to talk about mandated reporting.
This is great. It's
I know just enough to ask the questions.
No, I am actually in a very similar to this situation with a client I have right now who is in middle school. And I'm dealing with the mom and the child. And there is a younger child in the home who is on the spectrum as well. So it's like different, but really similar. And the mom has come to me with some of these very similar questions, like feeling a little bit, not hopeless, but just overwhelmed with like, where do I even start? So the first thing that I told her to do was start documenting everything.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we got to that question yet, but
No.
Is that part of it?
No,
Okay.
we're
Okay.
well on our way to talk about documenting.
So
documenting, and I would say if you don't already have a lawyer, get a lawyer and make this documenting part of what you do with that lawyer.
Yeah. So in this client situation that I've worked with recently, they settled on custody years ago when the children were very small. And it's like just continued because they wanted to keep the peace because the partner is extreme. Like, and very similar to this, like not really giving a crap, but giving a crap when it's the most frustrating.
yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah,
like,
yeah.
so it makes
It's
me
almost
feel
kind of
crazy.
like I care only because I want to screw over the other person.
Yes, very similar. to
I
that.
care just enough about the kid because I want to win this game that I'm playing against the ex.
I don't want you to win.
Yeah, exactly.
Just because I don't want you to win. I don't even want to win the kids. But like I don't want you
to. This always boggles my mind because you hear about things like this every so often, and to me that's always just holy shit. If I were that person, if I were that dad, as just was described in that email there, I would just say to the mom, hey, why don't you take the kids?
Yeah.
Why don't you take the kids? I'll see them, 1 weekend a month, whatever it is. We'll go to Six Flags. We'll ride a roller coaster, and then I'll drop them back off at your house again.
Yeah.
And that'll be it. And my question is, and I'm not a parent. I don't know anything about this, which has never stopped me before.
Go on.
But it certainly seems to the logical side of my brain that that's where most people would go, and it's just not the case.
Yeah, I this is totally a personal observation or perspective. I feel like when couples are together and kids are involved, it is like something switches in people's brains or something, and it just triggers something. I don't know what it is. It's different. It makes them do things their like logical brain is not.
Whenever you're, especially in writing, and I did this a couple of times in the email. I changed the wording in the email as I was reading it once or twice. But in writing especially, if someone refers to their kids as my child, if they go from saying my kid or saying the name of the kid to this happened to my child. It didn't happen to Nick. It happened to my child. And as soon as they say the words "my child," that's not a trigger word for me, but a what do you call it? When you see something, you go like, "Oh, I'm clicked into what this person is doing now."
Yeah. It's like a
signal or something.
A signal word to me.
Yeah.
They're like, "Oh, this person has gone around the bend a little bit on this topic."
They feel protective.
That's it.
Yeah.
They're now in mama bear mode.
Yeah.
Good point.
And anytime I hear anybody go like, this happened to my child, I'm like, ooh, shit, this did happen to your child, didn't it?
Exactly.
And now it's happening to you, and now it's happening to me.
Yep. So a few things that I suggested this parent do. One, she would say, oh my gosh, the dad will call me and is yelling and cursing and freaking out on me. And I said, hang the phone up when they do that. Send them a text. Tell them exactly, A, B, C, D, whatever you need to tell them or whatever y'all were calling to discuss. And that way, if he wants to rant on text, it's in writing and you have all of that.
Yeah.
And also, then you don't have to listen to them yelling and cursing at you.
And also,
because you don't have to.
In that email or text or whatever it is, you just say the words, I'm not going to sit on the phone and
what
be
I told her
yelled
exactly.
at and abused.
That is exactly what I told her.
So if you'd like to have another phone call where you're not going to do those things, I am open to having another phone call. If you're not, this is our mode of conversation.
Absolutely. That's exactly what I told her. And it's funny, they don't respond very quickly when you write that.
Because from the other email, it's embarrassing. And embarrassment is powerful. Embarrassment is a big
sensitive
fucking deal.
ego.
It is.
I know.
It's crazy how sensitive we are to these things.
I mean,
and by these things, I mean everything. And being called out for our shit.
So as far as mandated reporting.
Yeah.
So that's something we should probably talk about.
So she asked me that too, because it was not similar to this, because when you get to the gun stuff, that's like a whole different realm. So we will get there.
That's the thing is guns and food, guns and lack of food both appeared in this email. And I'm wondering about mandated reporting, especially with those two topics.
So I did express to the parent that if there was something that I felt I needed to report with the kid that I was working with, because there was some borderlines. I mean, I wouldn't have said they would have gotten taken away from the dad's custody, but could have used an investigation and a documentation that, hey, a CPS report has been made. And I don't
A
know
visitor
if you're
might
in the
show up at the
US,
house.
But yeah, in the US, it'd be like reporting to CPS.
I
Child
know
Protective
SC Scoop is in
Services.
South Carolina.
Oh, okay.
That's the SC.
Oh,
and
that's the
SC Scoop.
SC. Okay, that makes sense.
I don't know anything else, but
Okay.
I think we're safe to assume
Okay,
US.
okay. So yeah, and you can make you can call and make anonymous reports. If this is your friend and they're telling you some of this stuff, you can call CPS and say, I don't want to report who I am, but these are stories that I've heard and things I've heard, and they will go investigate the home
And you can be
see.
truthful. You can say, I'm getting this third hand.
Yep.
My friend's kid told my friend this, my friend told me this.
Yeah. Yeah. Explain where it came from.
Yeah.
Whatever information you know, they will just calmly collect that information and follow up whenever they're able to. So yeah, I would 1,000% encourage you to make a call if you feel like that is warranted. I mean, in my opinion, like having access to guns, absolutely, I would be calling that in. I mean, for me.
Yeah.
But as far as a therapist, so the border, like, I guess, boundaries of that being a little ambiguous. So my client, there was this teen, preteen girl is expected to care for their younger child or the younger sibling. And so it'd be like, oh, go make your younger sibling lunch. And so this girl would have to go do that. And then they didn't do it right. So the dad freaked out,
Sure.
called the mom, is like going through this whole meltdown. And basically I'm like, it's not your responsibility to care for your younger brother. Also, you're in a 1-bedroom apartment. Like,
Ugh.
I don't know that whenever the custody agreement was made, he had a house. And so I'm like, I think this has changed since your custody agreement. I think you actually could bring that back to court, and he will either have to move into a different place or will not be able to keep the kids except for daytime or not overnights unless there was an appropriate place for them to sleep. So keep in mind that everything is it can be ambiguous. I think if you're worried at all, making a call to CPS is always okay, even if it's nothing. Like,
Right.
you can make that call.
They'll go investigate it. If they find nothing, it's nothing.
You've done what you can.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of sounds like SC Scoop is saying like the therapist's responsibility in reporting that. And the therapist's responsibility is, yes, that anything that you become aware of as a therapist, you're a mandated reporter for child abuse or neglect. So that's going to be reported.
Yeah. As a therapist, I would report what you've shared with me today.
Would you, if it was just, so they say that there have been times that the kids have gone without enough food, things like that. Let's put a pin in that for a moment. Just the gun thing. Would that be enough to report?
Yes.
You think?
I would.
Okay.
But here's the thing, too.
Just like they have access to unlocked firearms. Okay.
Yeah. I think so.
Definitely. But then also, like, to any therapists that are listening or students or any will-be therapists, here's the other thing that's really important, too, is you don't have to make that determination.
Yeah.
You can do, and if you don't feel like, violating confidentiality, you can always make an anonymous report. I've done that before. When I worked at a facility, it was a drug treatment facility for women and children. And if there was ever a case where there was suspected child abuse or neglect, we're not investigators, and we shouldn't be investigators. Nope. As a therapist, you are not an investigator. What you do is you report and you let the investigators investigate.
Sure.
And if it turns out to be nothing, it's nothing. But that's not your role.
Another thing that I wanted to mention is that I have seen in custody cases where therapist notes will be subpoenaed. So that's something that I started including in some of my first sessions with clients or my assessment is when we talk about what are we mandated to report. I do mention that confidentiality, like the normal stuff that we've talked about on here before, but I also add in now if there is a court case of some sort, typically it is with custody cases that it happens the most, but those notes can be subpoenaed for a judge to look at or to.
I wonder if it's different for mental health, because at least for drug and alcohol treatment, a subpoena won't work.
Okay.
It has to be a court order.
Okay. Well, I might be using wrong terminology too.
Oh,
I've never had to do it. I know people who have, but I haven't personally.
You want to hear something really wild?
Sure.
This is just a side note. Okay. This is
bears. They can climm faster than they can run.
Beats.
That is wild.
Battlestar Galactica.
No. Okay. So HIPAA, we're all familiar with that.
Female hippopotamuses.
Exactly. protects patients' confidentiality, but there are exclusions to HIPAA.
Yeah.
Right. So one of those being child abuse, neglect, or elderly abuse.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if you are providing substance abuse treatments, if you are rendering a diagnosis, treating, holding yourself out to the community as an agency or as a therapist that treats substance use and receiving any kind of federal fund, you are also subject to 42 CFR Part 2, which is a separate confidentiality law.
Oh, okay.
So you have to follow both HIPAA and 42 CFR Part 2.
Okay.
Here's where it gets wild. They don't line up.
What's the difference?
So the exceptions to confidentiality. So when I say exceptions, these are things that you can violate someone's confidentiality for these reasons. So
Okay.
you can release information without the client's consent. That's what I should say.
Okay.
You're not violating confidentiality.
Okay.
You're releasing information without their consent.
Okay.
There are reasons in which you can. So child abuse and neglect and elderly abuse for HIPAA.
Okay.
Elderly abuse is not an exception to confidentiality for 42 CFR Part 2.
Okay.
But in the state of Nevada, you are required to report it.
I was going to say, if HIPAA requires you, don't you just have to go with HIPAA or no?
No, because 42 CFR Part 2 is the more restrictive.
Oh.
HIPAA is not. So the restrictive part is what you can allow. So because you can't allow it on 42 CFR Part 2, you have to follow 42 CFR Part 2.
Oh,
That
I
takes
see.
precedence over
I
HIPAA.
see.
However, state law says that you have to report it.
Okay.
So what you have to do, if it's child abuse, you can report that. If it's elderly abuse, you have to do an anonymous report.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
because
That's
you
your way
can't
around
release
it.
client
Okay.
information.
Gotcha.
So it goes like when you it's crazy.
Glad I'm not
like
in that
these
field.
these two laws that you have to like be able to juggle and kind of know the difference between.
Well, so at the end of the day, what I told this client I work with, I said, well, I'm keeping notes. And probably when you go back to court, my note system that I utilize is through Simple Practice. They aren't sponsoring the show, but maybe I should reach out.
Sponsor the show.
Yeah. And I love that system because you have your notes and then it has like therapist notes underneath it that are like, these are not created and shared. So if you have something that you really want to like remember, keep in mind, but you're like, I don't want this to be part of their like notes, I can keep those more vague, or like just what I'd share with insurance, if a court did order me to share something, it's like more of the basic or just bits of important stuff. If there's something deeper that I'm like wondering about or want to keep in mind, like, does this person have a personality disorder? I don't want to write that in their notes, but I want to keep that on the docket. It's like a separate section for that, which I love.
Yeah, because there's a difference between psychotherapy notes versus therapist's notes.
Yes. Exactly. So that's for, I guess, up and coming therapists. But with that client, since the mom has told me like her concerns, I try not to go in biased to this situation, which the mom is maybe pushed at times to, like, hey, make sure you're talking about your dad. But I'm like, well, she's not seeing her dad right now. But when she was, I was like, yeah, I definitely made notes on like important things that if someone else were to read that, I think it would be important to know, but it's not really enough to make a report about. It's just like, I don't love it, but I don't think that's like abuse. It's just not great. So I don't know.
What's your next question, Jacob?
Yeah.
Man, I'm running out of them now.
On to the next one.
We've hit a lot of things just in talking about them.
Yeah.
So there was the gun thing, there was the food and kind of cleanliness of the dad's place.
Yeah, hygiene can be reported too. Sorry.
Great. Let's see.
There's one other
the therapist isn't going to check your kid into a psych facility.
Yeah.
We kind of covered that. But same with the police. So like if the police have to be involved, they're kind of in the same boat as the therapist, right? As far as like any kind of mandated reporting, anything like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's see. Go ahead, Nick.
Well, the last point that I wanted to make here, because it really kind of sounds like if I were to summarize in my own words, kind of what you're saying, SC Scoop, as far as getting the therapist involved. One of the things I want to caution you and the mother about in getting the therapist involved is if you're getting the therapist involved, you have to understand that the therapist's involvement is going to be to help the kids process what's happening and what's going on.
Right. That's an excellent point.
Yeah. Do not bring the therapist involved as a weapon.
Yeah.
Okay. Because it's not going to work as well as you think.
Yeah.
And
obviously, the dad tried that.
Yes.
It's like, no.
Exactly.
And by the way, if you want a weapon that's available, it's a
At
lawyer.
the dad's house.
Exactly.
Oh.
And that was
Or that too.
Sorry.
What a terrible time to make a joke, Whitney.
oh my God, Whitney.
I would never make a joke at that point in the show.
Such poor taste.
I knew the moment I made one joke.
Yeah. Crash and burn.
No, but I was actually going to bring up the same point, which is that you don't want a lawyer or you don't want a therapist to act like a lawyer.
Right.
Like if you want a lawyer, get a lawyer. Don't have a therapist do it. It's not going to be. It's not.
Yeah.
Gonna
And
be
it sounds like your friend might need a lawyer.
Yes, exactly.
Sounds
I
like
think.
they might already have one for
Yeah,
the
I think-
expensive part.
I think
Right.
a lot of what you're talking about. This is where a lawyer gets involved, and not necessarily a therapist. Although I do think a therapist is a great idea. I think these kids should be in therapy.
The
But
scope of
yes,
practice
yeah.
is definitely just to help the kid process.
The therapist
and,
is there for the kids.
Yep.
and
And
report
that is-
anything they hear.
Yeah, end of list.
Yeah.
They might, if they hear something, as we've discussed, they might be obligated to report it.
Yeah.
Yep.
But that is, I don't think that's something you can really worry about, right?
Well, and I think the idea is that if you and the mom know something, you don't get the therapist involved so that the therapist knows it, so that the therapist can deal with it.
Yeah.
Right.
You get the attorney involved.
Yes.
Let them deal with it.
And what Whitney said earlier about notating all of these events, every time you hear about it from the kids, it's just write it down with that date, send it to the lawyer, do all. Here's the thing. Little Susie said that this happened last night. Little Susie said that their little brother or younger sibling. I don't know if we got sexes for anyone.
Yeah.
But my oldest child said that the younger child had to walk home last night.
Yeah.
Note that shit.
Yeah.
Get the day on it. Get the kid. Maybe I don't know. Talk to the lawyer about all these things. I would think maybe even video the kid saying it, just so you have that date stamp there with the kid saying it, so that they forget later or don't want to talk about it later. You have that video there. But that's all lawyer stuff.
Yeah.
We're not really qualified to talk about the psychology part of it. We're definitely not qualified to talk about the legal side of it.
No.
So
That's
our
why I'm
advice
just
on that
like-
is get a lawyer.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
If you don't already have one, get one. Sounds like you got one.
Yep. So, thank you for writing in, and thank you for supporting
Good
the
luck
show.
to your friends.
Yes, for sure. Okay, as we wrap up the show, we want to remind you that.
Was this me?
Oh, yeah.
As we
Oh,
wrap up
sorry.
the show, we want to remind you that if you sign up at patreon.com/therapy, you can get the extended show ad-free a day early, as well as enjoy our live chat Discord community and our weekly deep dives, interviews, skill shares, research roundups, and rants. And as we discussed in this episode, it kicks you up to the top of the queue as well for any emails that you send in.
Hell yeah, it does.
Yeah.
And we've got a new Therapod glitched scoop.
Glitch scoop.
That's cute.
My worst fear did happen.
Yeah.
Somehow I missed them.
Oh, it glitched.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's not 100%
Manifested
our
it.
fault.
Yeah.
All right. So glitch scoop, thank you and welcome to the show. And it's the first of the month. So we've got theropods and pterodactyls we need to announce. Whitney?
Oh, we're not going to kick them off the gym for next
I
episode
know.
like we did last month?
I know. I feel bad doing it 2 months in a row. I'll do the theropods. Whitney, you want to do the pterodactyls?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Is that
All
that
the way
long
down at the
list at the
bottom.
bottom?
Oh, the long list? My list is 2 pages.
Oh, I get
Yeah,
pterodactyls?
the
Yeah, you get
theropods
Oh,
is
yeah,
really
yeah,
long.
yeah. I'll do that. That's the one I was
Yes.
looking at, the theropods. Go
All right.
on.
To our theropods, thank you. New Stick, Robert Paulson, Polygon, Colin, Scoopsternaut, Richard Bruins, Linda Brandmeier, Corey, oh my God, I can't speak. Corey Owens,
Do you
who
need
got
me to
married
read 'em?
this
Bad time
weekend.
for
I'm like, do you need me to read?
Yeah. Congratulations, Corey, on your wedding.
Congrats.
Oh, yes. Congrats.
Joseph Pangrazio, Brad Kefauver, Christine Phillips, Gavin Bristow, Carrie Tierharks. How did I screw up her name? That's my sister.
I never pictured it spelled with a K.
Yeah.
Okay, go on.
Stacy Westerland, Scoopy Jess, Ian Whitefall, Kiwi Fruit Scoop, James K., Chelsea Saracen, Craig Little, Katie Chuwakowski, Don Dorr, Jim Hunter, Adam Rubiznik, Okie Scoop, Brooks Lyle, Matthew Nair, Take It EV Podcast, Todd Canfield, Felicia Butler, David Swarnson, Shayla Bullock, Scoopstronauts, Lauren Izzo, Stacy Coleman, Heather, Adam Patanuzzo, Mats Lindgren, Scoopator Ascending, Ian Soto, Jessica Cyphers, That Josh Guy, Lee Popsicle, Dr. Scoop Little, Mama Ninja Scoop, James Dawson, Colson Morrow, Jacob Harrington, Sarah Olo, Grumpy Lake Mead Park Ranger, Sam Buck, Karen McCulloch, Megan Smith, Kate with an I, What a Weekend, Some Nobody, PB, Lila, Be Gay, Do Crime, Kelly Grand Gagner, Nippy, Brian Emra, Drew Helliga, Alec Lancaster, Matthew Johnson, A Literal Pickle, Matthias Vandebrandt, James Hubble, Max the Ginger Scoop, Ken Tinsley, Chemist, Stacy, Protect and Scoop, Utley Engie, Anana Nurse, Andreas Savadra Molina, Cody, the DeLorean Guy, Jim Mills, Smells Funny, Julius Capel, Brian Malachek, Matt Kubik, Chad the Safety Lad, Walker Fluke, Philip Guyton, Timistry, Almost Dr. Nurse Joey. I just add scoops for some reason now. Duffy, the Slowly Getting There Therapist Bear, Joel McMillan, Nico, Christopher DeGursey, Kierkegaard, Yervin Santon, Trisha Ortiz, Kirsten Johnson.
All right, now some of you are just fucking with
I
them.
was like, this is too crazy.
Tiny Home Traveling, Chris and Alyssa. Scott A., Melissa Geisler, Laura B., DJ Sewart, Chris Conway, Patty Glad, Christopher Aguar, Fifi, Eli, Heather W., Kyle, David Williams, Kate Palisi, Todd Vrooman, Anthony Camarada, Travis, Eric Dyer, Emma Kane, Starchkey, Susie, Kathleen, Freya Lawson, Adam Warren, Jobeth R. Bowers, Mark Orlena, Buddy Dobbins, Glitched Scoop, Trontastic, Mike V, Stephen London, Shy Ruparel, Alina, Bourbinator, Robert Cole, Kenneth Wong, John Finlayson, Tasha, Rachel Rakowski, and Kay Pizzle-Dizzle.
Nailed it.
Yes, well done, Nick.
That was a lot.
Now it's time for the
He didn't breathe that entire time.
Nope.
It was
or
amazing.
blink. I
Nope.
didn't see him blink either. All right, for pterodactyls, we have
I believe it's pronounced pterodactyls.
Oh, my bad. The P is not silent.
No.
Ice Blue Scoop, Brian Lehman, Scoop Brady, Fred Beshara Jr., Andrea Anderson, Lindsay Beshara, Frozen Cusser, Lori Elsroth, Robert Ward, Chris, Sai Shonagon,
Yep.
Dank Butta, Andrew Langmead, Lovely Spark, Celeste Quintero, Kristen Robbins, and TKO.
Thank
That is all the time we've got for this week's session. Nope, that's up here. Let me see up here. If I scroll back up a little bit. We especially want to thank our bosses, the Sacred 16, the mysterious and shrouded Illuminati members of our fan club. That's the Thera producers. Thank you, Jake Schneider, Robert Brownie Jr., Mint, Smitty Scoop, Ben Dogan, Julie Schneider, Kayla Lazenberry, Mr. and Mrs. Hot Dog Scoop, Malia, Leon Kassab, Mason Miller, Richard Macy, Carolyn Albert, Kevin Chamberlain, Tess Miller, Sammy Scoop, Ben Stanley, Slap in Your Face, Sarah Smith, Adam Hathaway, Baylor T, University Jeff, Mike Helm, Paris, Samantha Cohn, Darren Cunningham, Lib, Team Monaco, Thunder, Cougar, Falcon, Scoop, Matt and Lisa Tangeman, Heyo, Oscar Swan Rose, A Sunny Boy, Slurpy Kaye, motherfucker, Sandra McWaffle, Dan Martin, and Hannah Marie.
And if you'd like to hear this episode uncut and unedited,
And why wouldn't you?
and enjoy our spontaneous side projects, go to patreon.com/therapy. And thank you for supporting mental health.
That's all the time we've got for this week's session. We want to thank our landlords. That's the Ice Cream Social Podcast. And thanks to those of you who contributed to our show today. We really appreciate it. Remember, pod therapy isn't something you should keep all to yourself. Share this episode with someone who needs it by opening this episode's description in your podcast app and copying and pasting the link provided into your social media. Don't forget, you can find us on Facebook.com/PodTherapy, on Twitter or X at PodTherapyGuys, and now at Patreon.com/therapy.
Do you want to submit a question to the show? Please do, because we're running out. Ask anonymously
Please.
at podtherapy.net or email us at podtherapyguys@gmail.com. If we don't get letters, we're just going to talk.
Yeah.
I'm
Nobody
Nick
wants that.
Tangeman.
I'm Whitney.
I'm nobody.
Thanks, and we'll see you for your appointment next week.
That was fun.
Okay.
I believe there's an 8,000 point final question.
8,000 points, and you guys don't stand a fucking chance.
Yeah.
I'm in it. I've got this.
I'm going to give you the airport. You give me the
Shit.
3-letter
Oh,
code.
okay, I thought we were doing reverse.
No.
I thought you were going to do the code. I was like, and I have to
Same
guess
thing.
the airport?
No.